Okay, boys, so we got a bit of a sample size with Dame on the Bucks now, so let's talk about it. He did not play in their last game against the Pacers, featuring Giannis going Super Saiyan. We will talk about the fact that while we are not seeing a whole lot of Dame Giannis pick and roll, which I think everybody kind of gets at this point, it is still happening a bit. We are also seeing Giannis screening for Middleton. We're seeing Brook or Bobby Portis screening for Dame, or Giannis occasionally as well. We'll get into the offense and how Middleton probably still is such a huge deal for these guys. I do think their recent game against the Nets was like kind of a preview of how good this offense can be. As far as the defense, perimeter defense, screen navigation, Adrian Griffin just straight up changing his defensive scheme a few games into the year because, I mean, he said it on the Knicks game, like on national TV. He was just like, yeah, the vets came to me and they just said, yeah, we would prefer Brook dropping back on screens as opposed to that more aggressive scheme they were trying out. So it's been some stuff. But look, offensively, I think they're like 7th or 8th in offensive rating right now. And I mean, for one, Dame is just missing his pull-up threes at a rate that he never has before. He's shooting below 30% from three. Now, it's crazy because his true shooting is still 60% because he's had a million trips to the free throw line and stuff. But yeah, we all know that's going to flip back the other way because it's Dame. He's an amazing shooter. He's one of the best shooters of all time. As far as the Dame Giannis pick and roll, so it seems like when they do run it, it's like early in a game. Like I think their very first possession against like the Pistons was a Dame Giannis pick and roll. And then it's like the beginning of the second half, they do it a couple times and they sort of go away from it. The last time we did see it semi-regularly was in that first half against the Pistons before Giannis got ejected, and then the Bucks went to like a zone defense in the fourth quarter. Pistons couldn't make a shot. They went heavy Dame pick and roll. They ended up winning the game. And shout out to Brook for that super deep three that basically made my TV explode. But it was Asar Thompson on Dame doing a good job getting around screens. Dame was cooking in the fourth, but I thought in the first half Asar did a pretty good job. And then it was Isaiah Stewart dropping on those screens, and so Dame would like throw a bounce pass to Giannis, and then it would be Isaiah Stewart just kind of meeting him at the free throw line, and maybe Giannis would still be able to convert some of that. Maybe it'll flow into like a handoff action with somebody else, like Beauchamp or whatever. I remember one specific play like that. But the Pistons were like, okay, we didn't get killed on the initial action, right? A couple of those times I felt like Dame could have like kept on going for a layup, but he threw it to Giannis pretty early. I remember one time in one of their earlier games against the Raptors where like it would be early passes to Giannis where it was like, and maybe the pull-up was there. And then later on he would take the pull-up, right? And so I do think there's a bit of a feeling out process just with those two playing off of each other. Also, to be honest, I think Giannis needs to set some better screens sometimes. I mean, Giannis is still amazing, at worst, second best player in the league, I get it. But also, if we're talking specifically about that two-man game, it wasn't super difficult for Asar Thompson to get around some of those screens in the Pistons game. If we can go on to their recent game against the Nets, so it was McHale on Dame, and a similar thing, like he's fighting around those. Ben Claxton was not playing, and that does matter, but Ben was on Giannis, and he was dropping on some of the screens. He was switching on some of them too, but they had like the same type of idea where it's like, Ben, we want you to meet Giannis around the free throw line, and it was like one time Dame was able to get downhill and score like over Ben at the rim. Another time it was Giannis taking another sort of awkward push shot with Ben basically just being there at the free throw line against him, right? I remember, I think it was the first time they ran it against the Knicks, it ended up in with like Randall and I don't remember who was guarding Dame. It was probably Quentin Grimes, putting two on Dame, and then it was Giannis middle of the floor with Mitchell Robinson waiting for him, and Giannis was able to kind of like Euro step around him, but clearly teams are saying, we got to have somebody waiting for Giannis around the free throw line, right? Anyway, interesting thing in that Nets game was eventually the Bucks leaned more on the Middleton-Giannis two-man game, typically from the wing, where like Middleton would relocate from like the free throw line to the wing, Dame throws it to him, Giannis sets him a screen. From there you had like Middleton hitting pull-up twos over Ben one time when he was switched. Another time where it was after that one where Giannis slipped the screen because the Nets were kind of preparing for it. He gets a dunk, or maybe it was a layup off of Middleton finding him. One time Middleton drew a foul on, I don't remember who it was, my bad. And then there was one play that made me a true believer in, okay, this offense can be amazing if everything clicks. It was Middleton in the post, cross-court pass to Dame, opposite wing. Dame immediately throws it to Giannis, top of the key. Giannis drives, spin move, dunk because he's amazing, right? And it's just like, on that same play, Dame could have shot the three, or Dame could have drove himself. But just the connectivity of those three guys, you get it. That to me is the perfect image of what this Bucks offense can be. And then within this, of course, you're always going to get like Brook or Bobby Portis screening for Dame, or they'll run some double screens, or Giannis will occasionally run these actions with like Pat Connaughton or Jay Crowder, or occasionally even Beauchamp, or he'll just like screen for one of them, which those plays look kind of weird, but they do happen occasionally. And then as always, you get your just Giannis being Giannis plays, whether it's isolation, transition, find me in the post early in a possession, all the Giannis stuff. I also wonder, like, in time, if we're going to see Dame and Giannis, like, just where the chemistry gets to, because, like, one of the biggest plays in the Knicks game late, it was the three from Dame in the fourth quarter that kind of sealed it, where it was, like, it was like an empty corner DHO action, but Dame took like a weird angle around it. It was just different than like a simple screen up top, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's the offense for you. If we could talk about the defense for a bit, they're like 20-something in defensive rating right now, but again, like on national TV in the middle of a Knicks game, Adrian Griffin was just like, yeah, the players wanted me to put Brook back in drop, which is what it's been for the past couple. I mean, Brook knows what to do in drop defense. We all get that. And, Giannis is a help guy, but the perimeter defense, which was a big talking point coming into this, what would it look like? Yeah, it's been kind of rough, man. I mean, last year it was Drew Holiday, Wesley Matthews, and Javon Carter, and now it's Dame, Beauchamp, who's definitely intriguing, but he's not like all the way there right now. Andre Jackson might be their best perimeter defender, but I don't know how many minutes he's going to get like that. Side note about Andre Jackson, like the very first possession he had in the Pistons game, guarding Cade, he like gets around the screen perfectly. He's like stonewalling Cade at the free throw line. It's like, ooh, that's something. Cameron Payne's doing his best. Malik Beasley's doing his best. But, I mean, you could see it like in their recent one against the Pistons where like Marcus Sasser had a number of plays where he's just coming around screens, and whether it's like Cameron Payne or it's Dame or it's Beauchamp, whoever, like they're trying to fight around these actions, and he's just got a little more daylight than you're used to with the Bucks. Because, of course, it was just better perimeter defenders in those actions before. And so, like, Brook will get a decent contest on somebody, but it's just simply not the same, I do think there's also been some weird miscommunications, too. Like, you could see this in the Pacers game where, like, there were a number of times when Brook was dropping on, like, Halliburton or Mathurin or whatever, and then Miles Turner would be popping because, Miles Turner, a very good three-point shooter. And you could tell the scheme was like, all right, somebody's got to close out on Turner. And the closeouts would be like kind of slow. And it like Cameron Payne would eventually get there. Then Miles Turner makes a three. And then Brooks like yelling at him, like, you got to be over there earlier. Or, well, that's what I thought it was. Obviously, I'm just a guy watching it. So yeah, now of course, like they do have Malik Beasley, who spent some time on Halliburton in that Pacers game. He was on Cade in the Pistons game. And I think Malik Beasley's effort is good. I think he's certainly trying, getting around screens and everything. He's just not that guy. He also had that one possession in the Pacers game where he kind of just fell asleep as Halliburton went straight by him, and then it's like swing, Mathurin, catch and drive, finish at the rim. And also in that game, there were a number of plays where Mathurin, he's got like Cameron Payne on him or whatever, and he's just kind of shooting without them seeing him. Now, Mathurin, it's been an up and down season for Mathurin so far, and so those same shots might not have gone in if it was a different night, but whatever. The point is like this team probably really needs like Alex Caruso. I think that would be the dream acquisition for them. It's just the amount of assets they've given up now. Don't really know if they could do that. And also, I'm talking about that Nets game, but like Cam Thomas was able to get free on some plays where he would then go into his pull-up. And I mean, Brooks doing what he's supposed to do, but part of drop defense is the guard also needs to, affect the guy coming around the screen. And well, yeah. So that's about all I got. I think even with some of my fears about their perimeter defense, which like, yeah, everybody kind of said this going into it, and you went from Drew to Dame, obviously offensive upgrade, defensive, not an upgrade, put it like that. I do think that their rim protection and the scheme that allows them to be rim protectors should be enough to where they can still be like, I don't know, 13th best defense in the league, hopefully, with the hopes of then maybe it's Andre Jackson more minutes, maybe it's just picking somebody up at the deadline, like I said, Caruso. And then offensively through Dame and Giannis, better chemistry on these screens. I haven't seen a stat of what it is when they run it. Like, for all I know, it's like 3 points per possession, but it seems like it hasn't been like an automatic bucket every time. As always, Middleton's health, how many minutes he can handle is huge. Dame just making the shots that he's made throughout his career that have just been a little weird to open up the season. I think everything they need to be a great offense is there. It's just, health, figuring some things out. And then defensively, I think they need one more guy, and I think they just got to stick with the schemes that they know.